The one big thing that, when I mentioned I was having somebody come on to talk about narcissism, everyone wanted to talk about gaslighting. That is the biggest thing that goes with narcissistic abuse. Um, I want to talk about phrases of gaslighting. I've heard you talk about this. I think they're things that we've all heard before, but I think it's really important for you to go down and give some real examples of phrases so people really know what they're listening to. I've been in circumstances of gaslighting. I'm sure you have. Many people have. It is a terrible place to be in. You feel like you're going crazy. You feel alone. You feel like you cannot get through to this other person and you don't know why. And it can make you crazy. So let's go through some phrases that people should look for when they are being gaslit.
You've been gaslit, did you say?
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
You're doing it right now.
First thing is gaslighting doesn't exist. I actually I had a therapist say that to me. She said that she was an expert on narcissistic abuse. This is in 2016. We got 3 sessions in, and we started talking about narcissistic abuse. And she said to me at one point in the session, she was like, "But you have to understand that narcissistic abuse doesn't exist." I was like, "What?" She said, "Narcissism is made up." And I was like, "Are you trying to drive me crazy?" So gaslighting really is it comes from, there's 2 movies that were made 3 years apart. One was a British American version called Gaslight, and the chap is doing something that changes the gaslight in the house to go up and down, and the woman can clearly see that he's doing it and says the gas lamps are going up and down. He says, "No, they're not. No, they're not." And so that's gaslighting. So it's typically used it's like they call it crazy making communication. It'll be there to drive you crazy. You say you've been gaslit, and I go, "No, you haven't." You go, "Yeah, I've definitely experienced gaslighting." Gaslighting doesn't exist. That's examples of gaslighting. You know full well that gaslighting exists. You know full well from your subjective experience that you've experienced it, but I deny your perception of reality. Now, when I deny your perception of reality in a calm and decisive way, the only thing a rational person can begin to do is to begin to question themselves and say,
Right.
experience gaslighting? So it makes you doubt yourself. And that's where you start to go crazy. You lose your confidence in your ability to perceive reality clearly.
Right. So it's phrases that, like you said, make a person think that what they're saying is not accurate. But then there are also phrases like, this is exactly why you don't have any friends, or this is why, everyone fights with you. That can be a version as well, right?
It would be a way of so you've done your gaslighting and then you solidify it.
Mm,
Look, you're crazy. Come on. You forget stuff. Come on. Everybody says that you make stuff up. Oh,
right.
don't exaggerate. You're just like your mother. You're always exaggerating, just like her. That would be a way of cementing whatever gaslighting injunction went before. You say, "I know I
Right.
saw you kiss that girl last night. I didn't kiss her. I was talking to her, and my lips hit hers."
Right.
Why are you so wound up about sex all the time? It was an innocent. I spoke to her. My lip. See
Right.
this kind of thing. Whatever you saw the person do it. I saw you do that. I have evidence. Now that's not evidence of what you think it is. Don't.
Well,
Are you going to trust me or trust your lying eyes?
wait, I have a very funny story. I'm not going to use names, but I have a male friend who was dating a woman for like 4 years, and he would always cheat on her, and he was never physically caught. And one night, his girlfriend had stayed home, and one of her friends was out at a bar, and got a video of him making out with a girl in a dark bar and kind of rolling around on this like couch area with this woman. Sends it to the girlfriend, and the girlfriend confronts the guy. And the guy said, "That's not me. What are you talking about? I wasn't even there. That guy looks like me, maybe." To the point where he was getting mad at her. "How dare you accuse me of this? What are you doing that makes you jealous? Obviously, you're cheating." Turn it around. So, like a couple days later, I'm like, "So what happened? Are you broken up?" He's like, "No, she believed me. It wasn't me." And I mean, I'm friends with the guy, so I found the story funny, but it's a terrible story, right?
That's outrageous. That's
Yeah.
outrageous. That's like that
They're
Shaggy.
not together anymore. And so, obviously, but I was like, "That's gaslighting." And then he's like, "No, it's not, Rachel."
Yeah, no, it's not.
Right,
Gaslighting is real.
right.
Yeah,
He's like, "That I wasn't gaslighting, I was just lying."
well, deny, attack, and then reverse victim offender. DARVO, they call it. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. So the first thing you just say, that's not me. Then you attack but why are you videoing me? Why are you such a
Right,
stalker? Why are your friends such psychos? That's not me. You're all psychos. There's something wrong with you. I told you there's something wrong with you. Victim offender would be that now this is about you. And
right.
what a paranoid, weird person. Like, who does this? And if I can keep on the attack, it's kind of like martial arts, like boxing. As long as, yeah, you got a good shot there, but if I can keep attacking you, you can't do your good shots. It's
Right.
attack is the best form of defense. And yeah, sadly, it does work because I think what you've got at the background of all this, the elephant in the room to why everybody's complaining about narcissism, is really, it's not a pandemic of narcissism. We're in a loneliness pandemic.
Yeah.
We're in a codependency pandemic. We're consuming way too much stuff that other people create for us. We're all engaged in way too much screen time, way too much ideology is being pumped in. And then we're very lonely. We're very alienated from each other. You meet a special person and you hold on to them. And at a point where you should say, I need to let this go and find someone else, you're like, no, but they're the one, they're special. And that's what keeps you, you believe their lies. You want to believe the lies, sadly. It's tragic,
Right.
really.
Because you'd rather do that than be alone.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing. How do we have a healthy relationship? What can you give some advice on what people can do, can look for in a healthy relationship?
Yeah, sure. I'm 46 years old in 2 weeks' time, and I'm in a healthy relationship. Let me share my wisdom with you. I'm probably, uh, I believe, if you've got two people who are very, very traumatized, and the trauma is around love and attachment and stability, and they're raised in rough childhood environments, the big challenge, one of the biggest challenges that they'll face as an adult human being is intimate relationships. It'll be very, very difficult. I imagine, I've never lived it, but if you have two people who, well, if you've never experienced that and you're raised in a nice environment, you get with another person who's raised in a nice environment, should be okay. Should be all right. If you haven't, you've got to go to therapy. You've got to look at this stuff. You've got to deal with it. And then you really need to know that that's something that you want to do with another person. You have to be willing to be self-sacrificing. You have to have really, really very high levels of empathy. You'll have to be very forgiving. You're going to have to be willing to be very vulnerable and very open. Because when we talk about relationships, we just throw it away like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. What kind? Long term. Well, how long are you planning on living? You're talking about decades of living in the same house with another human being, right? I say this in seminars to people, like, I want love, I want a relationship. And I'm like, you want decades of living in a house with another human being? And their eyes glaze over. And I'm like what's the disconnect? You've got your fantasy, and then that's the reality. So instead of asking, how do I fulfill my wonderful fantasy? How do I live with a person? And how do I make myself livable with? That's
Mhm.
probably going to get us closer to where we need to be. There can be no love without vulnerability, and there can be no vulnerability without safety. Make your partner feel safe. You want to make them jealous, you want to wind them up, you want to frighten them with other potential partners. Good luck. Good luck. You deserve to be single. You have to create safety because you're dealing with the most sensitive parts of the other human being,
Yeah.
and literally and figuratively.
And I think what you said is important. People need to start thinking of what they can do to make the relationship better, as opposed to it's always about why that other person isn't living up to these, standards that they've made up in their head
Yeah.
anyway. And also, I think, in my opinion, it's important to learn how to really listen. And also, you have to want to be known. You have to want someone to understand you and know you and be vulnerable, like you said. So I think for me, those would be things that people have to remember. But what do I know? I'm again 49 and single. So has yet to be proven in my book. But all right, where can people find you? Where can they hear more about all these things that you talk about?
I'm all over YouTube. I have 5 different channels on YouTube. I love YouTube. If you just put my name in, I'm active daily on Instagram as well. So that's probably the
Awesome.
best place to
Do
follow me daily.
you do you read your DMs? Can people DM you with a question?
No, but I don't do DMs, but I go live quite regularly, 3 or 4 times a week on Instagram. And you can ask me a question when I'm live. You can even come and talk to me. You can do a video chat with me. Or when I post a reel or a video, if you write a question underneath it, it's highly likely that I'll eventually see it.
And are you still doing your seminars?
I will be doing seminars. There's none booked as yet this year. At some point this year, I will be in San Diego and Los Angeles. I don't know when.
Amazing. All right, everybody, make sure you check Richard out. His stuff is very interesting. I think everyone will have something to learn from that. Richard, thank you so much.
Thank you.